Hi, I'm going to give a quick demo of my script I wrote, Control-O-Tron, which makes Jason Osipa style sliders for controlling morph channels in Macs. Run the script, you'll get a toolbar that looks like this. With nothing selected, you can create a new slider. If something is selected, you'll see that the tool becomes disabled. So you have three different types of sliders you can choose from. You got horizontal, vertical, and box slider. And so if you create a horizontal slider with a middle position, you'll get a frame with a slider in the middle that can slide either left or right, and that's how that slider works. With the slider selected, your tool becomes disabled again. So it only works when the frame is selected. So with the frame selected, you can then reconfigure that slider. Now it will only slide to the right, and now it'll only slide to the left. Same with vertical. You get a down slider, an up slider, or an up-down slider. And here's the box sliders. And this center positioned box slider will give you 8 slots to load morph channels into. All the sliders are just different variations of this same box slider. It's just how Jason Osipa describes it in the book, Stop Staring. If I make a new one, you'll see I chose the bottom right corner for the home position. That gives you the upper left quadrant of the box. If I choose the right as the home position, it gives me the left half of the box. And that's how all the sliders work. Okay. Size, pretty self-explanatory. I have the default set to 1. In this case, you can see that might be a little on the big side. I can manually change it to 0.5. You can size it up or down with these buttons. So I meant enter it in manually, or if you don't, if you want it to, you have a specific size that you want it to be every time you create a new slider. You can go into the script itself, and there's a function default size, and you can just change the value here to any size you want, and that'll be where it starts itself from. Okay, also, none of your sliders are created with any type of name. All 3 parts, your home position frame, your slider, and the main frame will have no names. That way it's completely name independent, but it's a good idea to give it a name. So you just enter in your name here, and it'll name all the parts of the slider, and that's all there is to that. So when you're ready to hook up some morphs, you just open this part of the tool, Control-O-Tron, and you pick your morph object. So you just click this button, and I'm going to pick Pac-Man. Pac-Man's got a bunch of crummy morphs on them, and they load up in this list here where you can pick from. Now, like I said, this has 8 positions on the slider, and you'll see there are 8 boxes around the slider to pick from. If your slider was reconfigured, you'd see that now I only have 3 slots to choose from, or 2 with the slider, and so on. So that's the way that works. Okay, so this is virtually identical to the slider setup that Osipa has in his book. There's a little bit of a difference, though, in that in Osipa's book, our sliders, when you load a morph channel into the bottom slot, it's going to look like this. Is that anytime you move the slider beyond the halfway line, no matter if it's left or right, it's going to open up that mouth to drive that morph. In my version, you can actually separate those because mine only drives the value for that particular channel in a straight up and down line, and you'll see that the value falls off if you go to the left or to the right. So this lets you really single out each channel, but you can still make it work the way Osipa's does by just loading that shape into all 3 channels instead. But in his, if you were to load a shape into the bottom corner, that starts piling up on top of what you've already got in the bottom slot. So this lets you kind of separate them out. I don't know if that's actually useful, but you have the option to do it. So there you go. Okay, so that's how you add channels in. Well, I'll actually step you through. So how you add channels in is you pick a morph from the list, and then you choose the slot you want it to go in. So when I put it in the bottom, I just choose the morph, and I left click on this box, and you'll see that the mouth opened up. And when I move the slider, there it is. And you'll see that it's not on either of the corners. So I just pick jaw open again, and I'll load it into the bottom left and bottom right. I'll take jaw closed, and I'll load it into top left, top, and top right. And then I'll do like mouth right into all 3 left channels, and mouth left into all 3 right channels. And then that gives you a result like this. And it's, it's no big deal. It's kind of stiff. And so what you can do is you can right click on any of these slots, and it will show you which channels are in those slots and what their weights are set to. So right here you'll see I've got jaw closed and mouth right. So I'm going to take jaw closed down to 75, and you'll see that you can actually see the weights change. And I'm going to do that for all 4 corners. Whoops, I missed one. There we go. And so real quick, you can get, now you can see there's kind of a bit of a curvature, more of a smoother kind of chewing action there. And then to really sell the kind of chewy mouth, you can load mouth up into the top 3 slots, mouth down into the bottom 3, and you can set those channels also at 75. And it gives you just a very quick chewy mouth. And that's really all there is to it. Now to remove channels, so if I decided I don't want jaw open in the bottom slot anymore for whatever reason, I can just click on the minus, and it will remove just jaw open from that slot. So now you see there's only mouth down is in that slot now. And I can add it back in. Now it's got both. Now if I decide I don't want any channels from this entire morph list in this slot anymore, I just select the X, and it erases them all. So now there is no longer any channels from that morph in the bottom slot. Again, I don't really know when or why you'd use that, but there it is. So to clear this entire jaw open from the slider, you see that jaw open still remains on the 2 bottom left slots there. I would just clear that, select the channel, and jaw open is now gone. So now I just got mouth down and left over here. And if I just want to flush the entire morph from this slider, do it like that. And that's what you'll want to do before you delete the slider. And basically all that does is it resets all the morph channels to Bezier floats. If for whatever reason you delete the slider and you forget to disconnect the morphs, you can just go in here and pick them out by hand and reset those. So that's all there is to it. I hope it's not terrible, and have fun. Thanks.